Hey everybody, welcome back to The Ride. Tuesday night, 10:30, our new time. We're going to see how this goes once again. James is with us. We'll see who else remembers the new time slot here, but I'm pretty excited about it. I like getting on this show when I'm still on my first energy kick of the evening and not trying to find that second and third wind. But as much as I like this, there's something that's not sitting quite right with me here tonight, Chev.
What's that?
And that is that last week we had a little discussion about the bet that we'd had running all season long. And not a little bet, not pick the winners for the weekend. We picked winners in the CFL all season long. I came out on top by a hair, and I thought I was going to be like waiting for the doorbell to ring here. I was going to get that Big T's barbecue beef brisket poutine that I'd been craving for so long. And I got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed. Like, what's the deal?
Well, there's a couple of things. One, I got home way too late. As you saw me tonight at football practice, I showed up at 6:45 for the 6 p.m. practice. So started with that, but I actually got thinking about our bet. And I don't think we ever consummated the bet at the beginning of the season. It just started with us making some picks. I don't even know if we started at the beginning of the season. Did we start at the beginning or was it midway through? But we never settled on a bet. We never said, hey, this is what we were betting. And as I thought of it, it was like, well, Sheldon just sprung a poutine on me. You might as well have said, hey, you owe me like a side of beef because you literally just sprung it after the bet was settled. I'm not saying that you don't deserve something. I think you're a great champion, but I really thought, you know what? We didn't settle on anything. So I think tonight, before we go and whenever we make our CFL predictions, we will bet something for the playoffs, and whoever wins, and we'll decide what it is. Is it the Grey Cup match? Is it whatever it is? Well, that I will honor that bet, or you will honor that bet, but at least we'll decide ahead of time. You agree?
I've got such a different. We don't have time for that right now. I've got such a different take. We've been talking all season long about picking something. I should have picked a side of beef. I took it easy on you. You didn't deliver, although I know you just got back from Montreal. But you know what, Chev? I think we're going to save that and a lot more coming up next year, right here on The Ride.
Let's do it.
Oh, total backpedal, Chevy. You can see.
Yeah, I was. Welcome to the 49th episode of The Ride with Chevy and Nasty. For those of you keeping score, famous Calgary Stampeder and NFL player Alex Singleton. Unfortunately, his season was cut short this year by injury with the Denver Broncos. I think he set their single game record for tackles. In fact, ever since he left the CFL, he's been lighting up the NFL. But he hasn't really been given his respect until the last year with Denver. And yeah, unfortunately, season cut short, but hopefully he's back. Hopefully he's back next year. But we're back tonight. It's The Ride, Chevy and Nasty, sponsored by Performance Freight Management, We Drone Real Estate Media. Yes, Sheldon, I did backpedal a bit, but maybe I'll get you a poutine. You know, tonight I used it as an excuse. I was late. I'll get you something besides a big hug. Besides a big hug.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I got a hug from you. No, I didn't even get a hug from you at practice, but I know you're a little unsettled. Of course, Randy Chevy being introduced or being inducted into the McGill Sports Hall of Fame here this past weekend. Chev, how did it go? Was it everything you hoped it to be?
Yeah, you know what, Sheldon? It was pretty cool. We talked about it going into it, and I appreciate, you give me some airspace with this. You know me, it's
I think it's awesome.
It's cool. I didn't want to make it about me because we talked about it last week, and I'm very humbled. You're such a big fan of mine, and you give me so many props and kudos. But I really wanted to talk about the going back as a middle-aged man, 24 years later. Like, I'd go back to Montreal and visit family as much as I can in the last 24 years. But because I was playing football so long in the fall, because I haven't really made the effort, truthfully, to go back for a homecoming, whether I couldn't or I didn't make the effort, this was really the first time that I forced myself to go back for homecoming. Of course, I was bestowed the Hall of Fame honor, and you could see it there on my right. I'm looking at Coach Morovich in the tan jacket. That was my defensive coordinator, and Coach Kirshner, that was my position coach, giving me the Hall of Fame plaque, which was such a tremendous honor to see those guys. But then that evening, there was a Hall of Fame football game. There was over 200 alumni present. And of those 200 alumni present, I saw about 25 guys that I had played with. Some that were just finishing their careers at McGill when I got there, some that were just starting, and some in the middle that were rookies with me. So it was really cool to go back and see all these guys and just break bread, have a beer, tell some stories. We told more stories than we watched the game, but we did watch some of the game. We watched McGill beat Concordia. But I tell you, it was just neat to go back. And for me, like I said, I had a tremendous experience at McGill, not just with on the football field, but the mentorship I got from a lot of my coaches and former teammates and the camaraderie I shared. And of course, I grew up in Montreal, so it was extra special to share that with my mom. I think I mentioned it to you that the only reason I accepted it this year is because I actually thought of my dad, and not being able to share it with my dad, I said, I sure want to share it with my mom. And I tell you, it was everything I thought it would be. And it was cool when they did the, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because, even when we started this show, it's kind of blew my mind. Like, I think it was 2011 was the last time we did a show. And it was like, we talked to each other once or twice a year, but we go years without seeing each other face to face.
Yeah.
What was that like to go in there and see? Because some of these were were active teammates with yours, right? Like, any surprises on which guy kept his hair, which guy lost his hair, which guy put on 50 pounds?
You know what? A lot of the guys looked the same. Some of them weren't as big as they were back then, but the guys who didn't have hair back then still don't have hair now. So the guys that had great hair back then still have great hair now. It's like if you went back to your university, most of the guys wouldn't have hair and they'd be like, nasty. What'd you do to keep your hair looking so good? But the thing that surprised me the most, I'll tell you this, and I'm truly humbled. The Hall of Fame ceremony was in the afternoon. It was $110 a plate meal, and I got my mom and sister there because they gave me 2 free tickets. Otherwise, I probably wasn't bringing my sister or my mom. That's, I'm kind of cheap that way. And I got a lot of messages from guys saying, "Hey, congrats, Chevy. I wish I could make it, but I have this. Sorry, I can't make it." I'm like, guys, I don't expect anyone to be there. I really didn't. In fact, I didn't even know what to expect. I thought they were going to call my name. I was going to get a plaque and go sit down. But when I showed up to see about 10 guys that I played with and 2 coaches there that they put their own hardware-earned money into that, it was truly, truly humbling. Again, to share that for my mom to see that.
That's the big one.
And I hope I did them proud because, I think I told you this off air. Like, I had nothing planned. They asked me, like, when they told me I was getting the award, I asked if I should do a speech. The guy who told me said, "No, you just say a quick thank you and you're done." And then when I got there, someone's like, "Jeff, I can't wait to hear your speech." And I was like, "Oh crap." And I saw the first winner go up with full sheets of paper. I was like,
"Oh wow." I was going to say, they're just messing with you because they know if they give you 2 minutes, you're taking the 20, right? So they gave you the 20. How long was your speech?
13 minutes, but I made it up on the spot. To tell you the truth, for me, it was a great opportunity. It was hard because I was getting emotional because I didn't have anything planned. So anything I thought of on the spot. It made me emotional.
From the heart.
I could see a grown man tearing up in the room. People were floored, but really it was for me an opportunity to thank the university, but thank the men in my life that changed my life. Because some of the guys in that picture and the 2 coaches there, they took me from a kid that I said it. Growing up in the high school I went to, Sheldon, was a real blue collar immigrant high school. Not many kids from my school went to university, let alone McGill, which has a pretty high academic standard. McGill University is 11 kilometers from my mom's house, but it might as well have been 1,100 kilometers in terms of how far that was of a dream to go to that.
I think
university.
That was Iowa State.
Yeah. But football and then McGill football changed my life, not because of the quality of education. I could have got an education degree anywhere and used it or not used it like I'm doing. I could have played football anywhere and gone somewhere or not. But it was the quality of the people that I met there that showed up 24 years later to celebrate with me and then celebrate the team that was also celebrating 150 years of existence, which it's the oldest college football team in North America, along with Harvard. So that was pretty special too. And yeah, it was great. And it was great to see family. I really appreciate it. Thanks for giving me an opportunity. But going back is nice.
You got it.
I challenge you, if you ever get a chance, Sheldon, to go back with your sons, because that was the thing that was missing. Sharing it with my boys. If you ever get a chance, I can only imagine, like there was 8,000 people in the sense. I can only imagine the feeling that you would have if you're standing there with your sons at Iowa State.
Homecoming, Rocco Beck putting up 300 yards. And I do.
Yeah, I do. With your boys.
It's always special to think back. In fact, after our last conversation, I threw on the old Iowa Hawkeyes, my rookie season, 1993. And you know what? I was a pretty good little nose tackle for my first year in the Big Eight back then.
You were pretty awesome.
And I was looking at all the guys I lined up with. I had a story for everyone. So, Chev, I'm glad that happened to you. But I also want to acknowledge, I'm kind of excited here tonight, too. We've got some faces we haven't seen for a few weeks. Jack Fulton. Congrats, Chevy. Jack, welcome back. Ernie Regas, man, it's good to see you again. Jenna Gange, Todd Kozak in Saskatoon, Jamin, Rob Evans. Guys, I'm glad you guys all joined us tonight. But I think before we go on with the show, we've got to pay homage to Chevy's hidden talent. Well, not even a hidden talent. Well, the 300-pound poet. Chev, you got a great one for us this week. Trey, cue up the music. Let's hit that poem. Just like that, we are back this week. With our mouths, we chew, but we also use them to speak.
We've got a great guest, a true friend of the show, with a big announcement, hoping to make our audience grow.
The Yankees exploded. Their World Series dream still there. When the Dodgers were up 3-0, it sure gave the New York fans a scare.
The playoffs are set for this week's CFL action. The road to the Grey Cup is beginning to gain some traction.
But when the trophy's given, it'll be the last for this commish. He was served his walking papers this week. Probably a very cold dish.
Cold indeed, like November. We are Chevy and Nasty. We say what we feel. We are 300 pounds. Never ever skipped out on a meal. Sure didn't.
Nicely done, Randy. Nicely done. You know what? For as busy as you are to come up with that piece of art, dude, and I butchered one of the lines. I know I did, but great job, Chev.
And I messed with your poutine, so we're even. Let's call it even.
We'll talk about that after the show.
Yeah. We got a great one tonight, right? We got our good friend of the show. We mentioned the poem. Bruno Lindia is going to join us second segment. We're going to talk all things Bruno, what he's up to. We're going to talk about a new partnership with YYC Business. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Talk some CFL action. We got our Blitz, Studs and Duds, favorite Halloween candy. Lots going on, but it's going to be a great show.
You know what, though? This started on your way out to Montreal. I think you left the day after the show. I think it was Wednesday you went out there, right?
Yeah.
And we have this little text chat going with Rubio, you and me. And we started talking about airplane etiquette because I was talking about that guy that put his seat back and I had to keep my hands up the whole flight. And you're like, dude, I totally put my seat back. I'm that guy. I take off my shoes. And then you start texting the Subway sandwich that you're about to open up with onions and all that stuff. Dude, it was crazy. Rubio was absolutely losing it, but I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, he was losing his mind. I sent a picture of my shoes off before takeoff.
That's gross.
Like I was literally not even off the ground. And I sent the picture, and then I told him I had a leaky Subway sandwich, and I
smelled it. I smelled it mixed in with your feet on that plane, and some kids goldfish crackers and bad diapers, and dude, it's brutal.
I was giving him the business, but on the way back, Sheldon, this is another airplane etiquette. We talked about that stuff: the seat, the feet, the everything. But this is the one I was thinking of. Okay, so this one I want to know from you, from people sitting down. I had to go to the bathroom, right? And I'm a large fella. You're a large fella. Those aisles are very short, right? So I'm heading to the bathroom. There's a crowd of people. Someone's coming back to me. I've already made my way through. Someone's coming back towards me, right? We don't fit side by side. One of us has to turn sideways. And unfortunately, I got to turn sideways into someone that's sitting down. Yeah. Now, there's a couple of angles here that I want to go. First of all, you're standing up, you're me. You got to turn sideways to let someone pass. Do you go butt to crotch with the person that's passing you, or do you go crotch to crotch or crotch to butt? And then the other question is, if you're sitting, do you want my crotch in your face, or do you want my butt in your face? So there's a lot going on here. Let's start this off. What do you think? If you're me, do you turn with your crotch to the person sitting, or do you turn the other way and just open yourself out for a tip to tip?
Okay, yeah, no tip to tip.
Just
No
in case.
tip to tip. That's just wrong. I mean, you and I are close, but we're not that close, right?
But
I'm
you
not
don't
letting
know
a
it's going to be a
stranger-
tip to tip unless the person turns right towards you.
First off,
Like-
you know what? I love flying, but I dread flying. I'm always prepared. The situal awareness of that person coming out of the bathroom offends me, right? Like I picture myself, if I got out of the bathroom and I saw a person walking to the hall towards me that was a full 1.5 feet taller than me, 100 pounds heavier than me, I'm going to wait. I'm going to tuck into one of those little reserve seats in the back that the air waitresses sit in. And I just go like sit down there for a minute, let the guy pass.
Yeah, or even the galley. Even the galley. There's space in the back, right?
Or even in the galley. There should be some space. Yeah, for sure. But if I found myself unexpectedly and I'm trapped by a cart.
It's you and I. It's you and I. Forget about a little.
Okay, it's you and me here. Yeah. That's an easy one. What I do, 1 foot into the row of seats, right? I'll pick the smallest, tiniest lady.
So you're trying not to infringe on her, right?
Maybe she's even sleep. Maybe she's even sleeping or pretending to sleep. And I'll just tuck in and I'll matrix up and kind of bend shape because I always give the other person as much room as possible and then just pray they don't touch me. That's what I do.
You're just
but if you're even the question
you're slamming your crotch in the old lady's face.
Dude, I'm not going to see her again. Right? Like I'm going to head there and head back to my seat and we're all good. But there's something so intimate about tip to tip or ass to crotch that one way you're the big spoon, one way you're the little spoon. Dude, I don't know. It's a disturbing question to ask.
Okay, but wait, well, I went crotch to the person sitting down. And I said, whatever they hit me with in the back, I'll be okay with. If they give me the tip in the butt, well, I'm just going to clench. If they go butt to butt, then we're all good. It's just two cheeks rubbing in the night. Yeah, two cheeks rubbing in the night. But what if you're the person sitting and I just put my crotch in your face? What are you going to do?
Situational awareness. Again, you have time to make that call. I'm planning that thing out before you come out of the bathroom. I'm planning every eventuality and I'm picking my targets. This looks like a friendly seat right here. And
you're playing a little Tetris. Rubio asked,
what I'm doing? I'm looking for a pretty little Jenna Gange sitting in there with her shoes off too. Although I think her feet probably smell a lot different than yours do, Chev. But I'd look at her, I'd make eye contact and almost apologetically, may I? And they all say yes, and it'll be good.
You better be looking for a pretty little Amanda Napastic sitting in the plane who just showed up on the line. Rubio asked, he says, Chevy walking to the bathroom without his shoes and greasy Subway sandwich. Damn, with his listen, I put my shoes on, Rubio, but I will tell you this. I had the window seat, and I woke up the lady next to me. And I woke up the man next to her and I said, you got to get up, please, because I got to pee. And guess what? They got up, they got out, and I went. And I know that would kill you, Rubio, to be woken up on your nap with your sunglasses on. Guys, we got to take a break. When we get back, we're going to get our good buddy Bruno Lindia on. We're going to introduce a lot of you to him. Remember, this is The Ride with Chevy and Nasty. We're on all socials. Please like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your mom, tell my mom, because my mom's not listening. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter X, and we're also available on Apple and Spotify podcasts if you want to listen to us in the car. You guys are awesome for tuning in. We love having you there. We're really excited for the next segment, so let's take a break. When we get back, we'll introduce you to the man, the myth, the legend, Bruno Soprano.
Performance Freight Management is a global logistic freight shipping company that will handle the entire shipping process for any package to any country. Whether it be a simple truck shipment from your office to Toronto or your company importing generators from China, PFM Freight handles it all. We have the expertise and technology to handle any shipping requirements. Skip the guesswork and let us take the shipping pain off your plate.
Experience our new fundraising event, Ignite the Night YYC, this November when we bring the fire hall to the Big 4 Roadhouse. Featuring a firefighter challenge, live entertainment, and fabulous food and drink. Tickets and sponsorship opportunities available now. Support the Calgary Firefighters Burn Treatment Society. Ignite the Night YYC this November. Help us help those who have experienced a life-changing burn injury.
You back? You sitting?
Yeah, interesting comment. My wife, of course, works in the airline industry and has to, like, she's the gate agent, gets people on and off. Sometimes she has to go off the plane. She goes, it's always butt to butt, no eye contact, nice and clean, two ships, bumping in the night, and then you just go on with your day. So
someone's getting your crotch in their mouth. That's all. They got mine. Sheldon, you know what? We're wearing the same t-shirt tonight. People might be wondering what this wonderful t-shirt is. And it's an homage to our guests, a rock band. We're going to have them on in a second, but we want to make sure we thank everyone that's joining us tonight. Thank you for joining the ride. This might be the most live listeners we've had in a while. Second week in a row, we start at 10:30. Seems to be a positive move for us. Maybe we're going to continue with this. We've been tweaking with some changes. Next week is our 50th episode. Oh my God, what do we have planned? I don't even know what we got planned. But number 50, we're sponsored by Performance Freight Management. We're sponsored by We Drone Real Estate Media. We're looking for more sponsors and we're looking for more partnerships. And the guy we're about to bring on, Bruno Lindia, might just have the plan. Bruno, welcome to the ride with Chevy and Nasty.
Hey guys, what's going on?
How you doing, man? Are you pretty happy? You're
Good.
wearing a smile. Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, loud and clear. I'm just thrilled to have you on. Half the time you've been a big follower of the show. Yeah, Yankees. I'm a little bit surprised that you're not in New York right now watching this.
You know what? I'll give you 4,000 reasons why I'm not getting a seat down there. It's actually ridiculous. But hey,
4,000 US.
Before we get going, I want to bring something up, and then you guys, obviously it's your show, but congratulations, Randy. The Harvard of the North recognized you. McGill University. I actually heard the 13-minute speech. It was, if we can put that link in the show, it was 10 out of 10. It was unbelievable. So congratulations.
Thanks, Bruno. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Bruno, I was going to say, I'm glad that the Yankees won because I didn't want you in tears tonight. I wanted your smiley face. Last week, the series is almost over. The Yankees staved off elimination tonight. It's your lifelong favorite team. You did a Yankees fantasy camp. We can talk a little bit about that in a second. But this series, and again, I'm not the biggest baseball follower. This series, we talked about it last week. It was billed as going to be the one for the ages. Has it lived up to its billing so far, or do the Yankees need to make a serious comeback in order to make it like the greatest series of all time?
First of all, as soon as we started talking about the Yankees, your listeners went down. So maybe we want to change the subject, Blue Jays fans and stuff like that. But number 49th episode, Louisiana Lightning, Mr. Gator, Ron Guidry was in 1978, played Cy Young winner. And we got to remember 49. Is it billed? You know what? Baseball is one of them slow motion type of, bocce on ice type of stuff. And it is what it is. You got superstars, but the LA Dodgers are just that good. They really, really are. I think it's billed. Just because your team loses once in a while doesn't mean it's not good, but it's living up to a lot of suspense, but I really believe the Dodgers are just stacked. They're ready to win. But no, it's been fun. It's been fun. It's just a game, and it's a lot of fun. It's bringing our family together because we text and hammer each other a little bit. But it's a lot of fun.
So you're originally from Ottawa, are you not?
Yeah, we don't talk about that until CSIS clears it. But yes.
So how does a guy from Ottawa become a Yankees fan in the first place? Yes, you've got the Alouettes, you've got the Blue Jays. Is this something? Did you take a trip to New York as a kid and caught your first pro baseball game, or what was the draw to the Yankees?
Yeah, so my father's side of the family all lived in the Bronx, but they're not baseball fans. My cousin Fabio is a Mets fan, and here's what I can tell you is that we're a border town. Ottawa's kind of a border town to upstate New York. And little trivia is before the Steinbrenners owned the team, CBS owned the team, right? And as a kid, we only had like 3 channels, right? Once in a while we saw the Expos, it was mostly on French channel, I remember. Then all of a sudden we got CBS from Plattsburgh, Watertown, right? New York. And they broadcast 2 games a week. And there you go. I just absolutely love the Yankees. They were terrible back then. Then Steinbrenner bought them, and that's the rest is history. I just adore them. I like the Blue Jays too. Don't get me wrong. I love the Padres, but the Yankees are true blue. Yeah.
But Bruno, and we're not going to spend so much time on your match for the Yankees because we could probably go the whole show. But just to quickly fast forward, you a little while back, not a couple of years back, but like I guess before COVID, you did a fantasy camp with the Yankees, right? How was that? What was that experience like? If you could sum it up in a few words.
Okay, so that was in 2023. So it was after COVID.
Okay,
and
after
you got to
COVID.
kind of whatever you want to call it, apply and this and that and the other thing. So I ended up playing with a team called the Bombers. There's some pictures up there. That's Nick Swisher, former Bush, former Blue Jay, Mickey Rivers, and that's Jesse Barfield, who was a legendary Blue Jay. I got to tell you, there's a reason why the New York Yankees, listen, love them or hate them on the field, they are the classiest, absolute classiest organization ever. I can't even explain on how great the experience was. It's a little taxing. I got hit by a car the day the tournament started and rebounded, started playing, and nothing was going to stop me. They were incredible. And some of them I might be watching or watch the replay because it's mostly Eastern Zone. But the camaraderie, I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, they're unbelievable friends now. And it's a long week. I don't mean long in a bad way, but it was, it's like 6 days and 12 games or something like that. And it's, I guess, as far as I'm concerned, it's like real baseball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have all calibers, but it was great meeting the legends. Like I said, Jesse Barfield, Homer Bush, Mickey Rivers, the list goes on and on and on. And it was a great experience. I strongly recommend if you have an opportunity to do it. Your body is really, really, really sore between and after.
Yeah, and I guess that like the Yankees is one of the storied franchise in North American sport. You're talking about the Yankees. You're talking about the Montreal Canadiens. You're talking about the Boston Celtics, the Lakers. Like, if you have an opportunity to hit the court, the field, the ice with the legends, it's not one player. It's not like, no offense to the Calgary Flames, but it's like Jerome McGinley, Joel Otto, and Joe Nieuwendyk, Lanny McDonald. Like, you go to the Yankees, you got decades and decades of superstars. So it must have been a real treat for a guy growing up, lifelong fan like yourself.
100%. It's one of those things that I thought I was going to go there and be in awe of all the players, but they really hung out with you. It was unreal.
Cool.
And the biggest thing about that was there are no egos. And you look at, there's a guy called Orlando El Duque Hernandez that at 58 could still start, I bet you, for 2 innings, and then his back gives out. You just don't hit this guy. And some of the teams, I can't remember the format at the end, but we ended up playing against the legends, right? And man, some of these guys are still like 40, 45. Yeah. And you don't hit them. And it was just a classy. And every penny that they made went to ALS. And I think we raised like $250,000. It was crazy. So
that's cool.
And the baseball was like, it was fun. I mean, you had some players that played NCAA on our team, et cetera, et cetera. So classy. And I my team was called the Bombers. 10 out of 10. They're unbelievable.
So when you did this, did you go with a team or some players that you knew? Or is this one of those like fantasy camps where, hey, a bucket list, I'm signing up and I'm going?
Yeah, some do it that way, but there's teams that play all year round, right? And they've just been there. I don't know what you call it, invitation only, but only if there's a spot on a team can you make it. And so I was fortunate enough that maybe somebody wasn't feeling. I don't even know the story on how I finally got on it, and just got on. And but it's a team, it's a tournament, right? So somebody wins, somebody loses, and it's really cool. it's as competitive as you want to make it, but there's no, you got to be like, I think the earliest age is 35, but if you go there with your son or daughter, you can bring somebody a lot younger, but they can't play shortstop and pitch. And we had 2 women on the team in the tournament, and I got to tell you, they were like lights out. And they have a women's camp, but they decided to play the guys' camp. And I got to tell you, they were fantastic. And it was just a great opportunity. I keep saying the same thing. It's very hard to explain because it really was the guys on the team. The legends were unbelievable, but it was truly the guys on the team, like we keep in touch with. And I met one of my heroes, baseball heroes, Mickey River, Mick the Quick, leadoff hitter, 1977-78. And this guy, he was just an unbelievable human being. He's the guy in the middle right, and unreal. Great outfielder, the epitome of leadoff batter, and just great. We had some funny stories. If you guys want to know some stories, we'll talk about it after the broadcast. But he's got some legendary stories. Look him up. He's fantastic. Great player.
Well, Bruno, let me cut you off here for a second. We're the Ride with Chevy and Nasty. We have a lot of people joining us. We want to thank everyone that's joining us live tonight. This show is going to be available for download on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback in the background as someone's got a sound on or a mic on. But if we could turn that down, again, you can find us on all socials. Guys, please like, follow, tell a friend. We're on with Bruno Lindia, friend of the show, good friend of mine. Now, Bruno, we're going to shift a little bit from baseball, from the actual Yankees and stuff. We're going to talk some baseball, but really, you mentioned it before. Baseball brings your family together. I've known you for a long time. Your sons, Dominic and Mateo, lifelong baseball players. I know you've been there for pretty much every at-bat, every swing, every pitching lesson. You're a really involved dad. You travel well, like the story of many dads. But what else you've got going on is your sons have left, right? So you have 2 boys, and now they're both in the United States pursuing studies, playing baseball. And guys, you got Bruno. I don't know if your mic is loud, but it's causing feedback.
Yeah, let's see. Is there echo cancellation there on Trey's end that we could use to help clean that up?
Yeah, because I'm getting a bit of feedback. But anyhow, Bruno, tell us a little bit about your journey with your boys and them kind of leaving the nest now.
Okay, so maybe it's the metal plate that's giving feedback a little bit. I'm not so sure. But yeah, I mean, you got to be proud of them. And I think one of the things, actually, there's a fellow called Bruno Piccone who is kind of my unofficial mentor. He was a client of mine. And he always used to tell me a successful parent is a lonely parent because the kids have gone away and they take care of themselves. And, you got to be proud of them. But yeah, I mean, when you're spending, 18, 19 years of your life, our prime years, following them, encouraging them, high-fiving them, reprimanding them. And I know Sheldon wants to bring up a famous moments of parenting or something like that, just to put it in perspective. But how you fill your time. And I've been very, very, very fortunate that I've embarked in a pretty cool, enterprise, Megapix Media, that we're going to announce you guys on our network. I'm surrounded with incredible partners that you guys have met. And you know what? You kind of, your family, I still do stuff around here, but you just celebrate. You celebrate them doing things. And, I absolutely adore my family. But yeah, you do miss them. And then you realize, I think, Chevy, you were saying something about when you went out for not wings, you guys ended up doing something else last Monday or Tuesday with Luke. And it's almost, like it's different, but it's the same, right? And they all come back. It's just different, and you just fill your time with other stuff, and you talk to them. And so the baseball part is that my younger son, you can see these. I'm not full of myself. These are actually their jerseys, not mine.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that. One looked like the Yankees pinstripes. I was going to ask you what the other team was, but those are your son's jerseys.
Yeah. So my younger son Mateo is a diehard Red Sox fan, but we get a tax credit for that. And the rest of the family is the Yankees fan. So that was Dominic's number. That was one of Mateo's numbers. And, when the Yankees or the Red Sox finally make it in the playoffs or something like that, and they're in school and they're remote, we start texting and calling and, rubbing it in. I can't believe this guy did that and that, there's a lot of that's kind of what it brings us together, that it has been the sports glue in our family. They played hockey, football, soccer, all those things, right? But baseball stuck. And yeah, hang out with you guys. We got YYC. I got my partners at Megapix, the folks at YYC. They're incredible. And they're younger than I am, right? So you just kind of hang out and have some fun with them. It's great. It's a great ride.
So Bruno, like I'm feeling it now. We'll talk about that. My oldest son, he's in university. He's still local, but I find it's hard to carve out that time. With your sons being gone into the United States, what are some of the things specifically you do to keep connected? I know you said you bond over the Yankees. Is there anything else? Like I noticed a few weeks ago or this year, my boys got into the football pool that I'm in, and that kind of connects us. What are some of the things that you do, strategies you employ to keep yourself connected to your boys, to keep that communication, to keep that relationship when they're so far away?
Well, if you're going to have to figure that out, and I'm no expert, but if you got to figure that out after they're gone, it's going to be pretty tough, right? So, like for instance, one of my sons really likes football, right? The NFL, and was Pat McAfee where he used to, anyways. And so, you know what I mean? You gotta have to get, interested in what they're interested, genuinely and authentically. So I hadn't watched NFL football. I'm kind of like Chris Rubio, like I don't really watch a lot of football. But guess what? I kind of started watching it again and keeping track. Nowhere near him. And my other son is really into film. He's an incredible film professional, and we chit chat about whatever, but we just, unwritten rule, we try to text each other, call each other. I'm like, hey, call me back now. Yeah, I get a little bit more lonely than they do. They got some action going on, but
like they call you. We were together at my son's football game last week, and Dommy called you when the Yankees were playing, and he asked you what the heck's going on with the baseball game, and you guys had a little chat there. I thought that was awesome because he's so far away, and I mean, it could be so easy for him not to think of calling you, but you guys really do have a fantastic relationship. But Bruno, when they're not around and you're not talking to them, and when you're not working on Megapix, which we're going to talk about, what is it that you do to fill your cup? I see Sheldon's wearing a t-shirt. We talked about the band. If we want to go anywhere with this conversation, you want to talk about the band. Tell us a little bit about the band, because it really reminds Sheldon and I about how we tried to get the ride going. We didn't do it for anyone else. Even our moms don't listen to us. Well, my mom doesn't.
My mom does. My mom does from time to time, Chev.
But mine doesn't. But we did it for us, for fulfillment. Tell us about the band before we get to the new partnership. Tell us about the band.
Okay, so just before we get to that, congratulations to Gretzky Chevrolet, right? Chevrolet, little Chevy into the finals, right?
Yeah, city finals this weekend. You're right.
So that kid plays big. I'm so impressed with, I've seen all your kids play all those little sports. And man, he went from stand-up end on defense to riding those seams. Like, I'm telling you right now, he's got a shot at dating Taylor Swift, because he's a better tight end slot back than Travis Kelce, and better looking. I'm just telling you that. So congratulations, Gretzky. Yeah, the ZBs, like, what can I tell you about the band? You guys have some t-shirts. Yeah, we're the most dangerous rock band in the world. And we just started it because we had to. I mean, somebody had to, and that's what we did. So yeah, I mean, you might recognize one of our band members, and I'm not even planned for this too much, but I was gifted this, so I don't know how many rock bands can actually say, let me see if I can do this, boom, you look back here, how many rock bands really have their bass player who won a Grey Cup, right?
There you go.
Our bass player, Shreko Zuzakovic, that's the Z. I'm in it, that's the B, and the little S is our friend Johnny Clean. And our producer is Kenton, we call him McCurnell. And we just are the ZBs and nobody else is. And that's just kind of what it is, right?
See, and I just love that too, because that's sort of what this show is about, and what the ride's supposed to be about, right? men getting together, talking about their lives and things that we've done. And I know, Bruno, you've had a lot of success in business. You've tried a lot of different things. You've made a lot of companies grow over your years. But what I love is your best stories are the things you've done, right? I don't think you define yourself by the business. I love that you've got a rock band going. I got to jam with Darren Flutie once when I was in Edmonton. Best thing ever. Dude, it was the coolest thing for me ever. Because a lot of us, like your son's in film. I was music before I was sports. My son plays clarinet in the band, and you're a big sports guy, but you're a well-rounded guy, and the people around you, your kids have definitely, I think, benefited from that. It's like multi-sport athletes. I think developing music is a part of developing a person's whole as a person. Wouldn't you say?
Well, first of all, I'm going to adjust that because my kids are athletes. I was never an athlete. I played. You know what I mean? And so I can't do those 37 pull-ups and stuff like that. I was gifted that I was dumb enough to throw a ball 350,000 times, right? But the band, as a matter of fact, the great bass player, Z-Bob Zizakovic, he played with Darren Flutie, and this fellow I've never met, but I heard a lot about Dan Wicklund, former Stampeder. So Z used to play with them, right? And how I got involved with, how I got to know Shreko, great Ohio State football grad. That doesn't happen. He's a Canadian from Toronto, right? And he was a great player. His brother, Lubo. So Shreko and I met on the football field, right? And we were both coaching at the collegiate level here. And I don't know, we just became friends. And then years later, I don't know, I just decided to play a song for a friend of mine in Ottawa. And somehow I mentioned it to Z, and he said, "What's going on?" Everything, the rest is complicated. We just played. We don't jam. We don't do anything. And, we just go in the studio and record 3 hours later. And then the young guys like Kenton and our engineer, Murray, they kind of go, "Hey, you guys hang out?" We go, "Damn straight we hang out after, right? Get your party hats," and we leave and we go to Subway and we go home. So I mean, that's just fun, and they kind of look up to us a little bit by saying, these guys are okay. Like, there's no drama with us, right? We just want to rule the world 3 chords at a time.
So Bruno, you're playing some rock. What type of rock? Like, if I'm listening, is it old Led Zeppelin? Is it Coldplay? Is it Nickelback? Like, what are we, when we hit play on the 8-track of the ZBs in the old Chevy Nova, what's coming out of the sound system?
Well, that's our own music. Like, I mean, it's our own sound, and we've dubbed it as, I'm going to give some love out there. So a good friend of ours in Naples, Florida, Wayne and Hazel Shepard. And I know they're going to listen to this later. Unbelievable people. We met them in Naples. And these guys, this couple, years ago, okay, opened for Jimi Hendrix, and I believe Bob Seger opened for them. Okay? And every time I talk to Wayne and Hazel, they're kind of like, "What are you doing next with, your band and this and that?" And so we created our own songs, and Wayne and I spoke several times, and we came up with the term for our music. We're called ocean punk. That's our genre. And it's almost like you're at the ocean and you're listening to some punk rock music that really goes nowhere. So those
Bruno.
Album covers.
Bruno, we got a clip here of your release. I believe this is coming out in March. Let's hear a little bit of the ZB's Ocean Punk for all the live listeners out there and all the ride fans around the world that are going to download this tomorrow. This might be the broadcast.
This is breaking here
of the ZB's. What's the name of this song that we're going to play? What is it called? Loving the Tub.
Call your mom. Call your mom. Make her listen. Okay.
Tomorrow. Trey, play that song. Play that song.
Hurts to be in love when you're only one in the tub. Hurts to be in love, playing sad songs in the club. Hurts to be in love, in the rain, sitting in the sun. Hurts to be in love.
That's awesome.
That was
Total
great.
punk vibe, man. I love it.
I can't believe we're on the internet and playing that music.
On the
All
Google?
right. Thanks, guys.
Hey, you know what? That could be a new soundtrack to the ride, because not only is that
That's what I'm
ocean
thinking.
punk, that's road trip punk. That's like jump in the car and jam and go, right? Get in the van. Get in the van and ride out with your friends. No, appreciate that you share that with us. Love that your passion for everything you do, Bruno. Your passion for baseball, your passion for your kids, your passion for your music, your passion for your friends. I know it because I'm one of your friends, and I know how much you invest in me as a friend, and not just in being there for them, but also supporting them. And you've supported the ride with Chevy and Nasty from day one. If people remember, Dream, Reach, Achieve is one of our sponsors when we first started 49 episodes ago. That was you. And now this week we're announcing a partnership with your media company, YYC Business. Can you please tell us a little bit about YYC Business, the ride with Chevy and Nasty, the partnership with Performance Freight Management, and just let us know what to expect.
Well, back at you guys for being friends and stuff like that. It's a lonely world without friends, and I look forward to every conversation we have. Sometimes it goes nowhere pretty fast, but so Megapix, I have 3 amazing partners: Greg, Miranda, and Al, and YYC Calgary Business. We have absolutely amazing agency partners, and then Adam and Caitlin own it. I think Adam's on this show right now listening.
He's here.
So,
Yep.
we're a platform. We're small to medium sized business platform that gets your business noticed, and we do it in a couple of ways. And we have content, we have shows, right? And we are honored to have you guys as one of our national shows. We're going to bring you across Canada. I don't know if we're going to get 10 views or 300,000 views, but we're gonna try that out, and not even try it out. We're gonna throw it out there. We're honored to have you guys. And I got to give a big shout out to Daryl from Performance Freight Management. That, you know what, I got to tell you something. Without sponsors like that and great people like that, none of this shit happens, right? So congratulations. If you go to YYC Calgary Business, you're on the premium channel right now. You have the ride, and I think this might even be the first episode, and you have it live there. Bottom line is,
we'll get Trey to put that in the comments. We'll get Trey to put that in the comments and on the little ribbon at the bottom.
By the way, we got stickers here if you want to see. If by the way, I don't even know where it's going to go, how it's going to go. We really, really try. I love my partners. I get up in the morning because I love working with them. I love working with you guys. Daryl's been godsend. You know what? If it goes nowhere, we're going there together. And anything that we can do to promote you guys, we are going to do. So it's a privilege for us to have you guys on the network. I wanted somebody else to announce it, but you guys wanted me on it. So I'm not the steal the thunder type of guy on these things. But hey, since we're talking about the 27-time world champions and YYC and the ride, let's do this. Let's have some fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, Daryl, it's just about that time. We got to go to break now. But Chevy and I have this little section coming up where it's called The Blitz, where we just go over 4 hard-hitting things that happened in sports this week. But having your experience and the guy that actually played at Yankee Stadium, I think you would be a benefit. Do you have a few minutes to stick on with us for a little roundtable Blitz discussion coming up next?
Absolutely. But to correct, just in case my Yankee brothers are watching, I played at George Steinbrenner Stadium in Tampa, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I still think I got legs, man. I'll play there. So
there you go.
I'll stick around for sure.
Okay, guys, great. We're having a good one tonight. It's good to see all of you guys so involved in the conversation. Again, make sure we're trying to grow this thing. So as you're liking and hitting and subscribe, make sure you hit share a few times too. Let's see if we can keep this thing growing. We've had nice growth the last few weeks, and we would love to keep growing with the help of you guys. But all that and more will be coming up here next on The Ride.
Performance Freight Management is a global logistic freight shipping company that will handle the entire shipping process for any package to any country. Whether it be a simple truck shipment from your office to Toronto or your company importing generators from China, PFM Freight handles it all. We have the expertise and technology to handle any shipping requirements. Skip the guesswork and let us take the shipping pain off your plate.
Experience our new fundraising event, Ignite the Night YYC, this November when we bring the fire hall to the Big 4 Roadhouse. Featuring a firefighter challenge, live entertainment, and fabulous food and drink. Tickets and sponsorship opportunities available now. Support the Calgary Firefighters Burn Treatment Society. Ignite the Night YYC this November. Help us help those who have experienced a life-changing burn injury.
Welcome back to the ride with Chevy and Nasty. I still got this nasty feedback. I hope it's not that experience for our fans out there. I'm turning down my mic. Guys, thank you for joining us on a nice, beautiful Tuesday night. We started at 10:30. We're riding in with our good buddy Bruno Lindia. Bruno, you got a lot of fans here. Some people that heard your song for the first time. Todd Kozak said he loved the song. People are asking where they can get some ZB's t-shirts. Bruno, do you have a website that promotes your band? Because people want to know. They want to listen to the songs. Where can we find? On Spotify? Is that where we go? Is that where all the kids go?
On Spotify, YouTube. We have a website that's going back up, and yeah, if you want a t-shirt, just give me a call, and we may or may not send it to you, depending if you're nice to Randy and Sheldon and my kid.
Oh.
But you know what? We also got this. Pretty interesting. Somebody made us guitar picks.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Nice.
So
little guitar
we got
picks.
those, and just so that you know, the crowd out there needs to understand these t-shirts. We've never played live. That's coming, right? We're going to be playing live. Those t-shirts weren't like, oh, look at us, look at us. It was actually for a fundraiser. And we raised, I think, I don't know, I think Greg's on the line here. I saw his comment. I can't remember what we raised, $2,800 or $3,000 for a center newcomers. And we'd have to sign it, right? I think you guys were at that event. So we signed it, and then we raised all this money. And some guy recognized Shreko. And he said, hey, Shreko, can you sign and put your number? So he puts number 98. And Bruno, can you sign and put your number? Did you play for the Snaps? I go, no. So I put number 22. And he goes, what's that? I go, I don't know. That's my Little League number. So I don't know. I put a number there. And Johnny Clean did that too. So yeah, if you guys want t-shirts, let me know, and we'll happen. And when we play live, we'll let you know. We got a bit of an agenda for where we're playing. So you guys will find out.
Perfect.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Well, listen, we got lots to get to this segment. We got to do our blitz. We have a little topic to talk about, and we also have to give our CFL predictions because I know midnight's going to come pretty quick, and we're gonna wind up forgetting. So let's start with the blitz. Sheldon, you want to kick it off? This is the Chevy and Nasty blitz. There you go. We've got our splitter. Yeah,
the big time. All right, this week in the NFL, Canadians Chase and Sidney Brown made history, being the first set of Canadian twins to face off in an NFL game for the Bengals and the Eagles, respectively. Of the famous twins in sport, who are the best all-time pair? Tiki and Rondé Barber, Enrique and Daniel Sedin, Rich and Ron Sutter, or Maurice and Maurice Pouncey? Really, Chef? Both named Maurice?
No, Marquise and Maurice.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I don't even know the Pounceys. But out of those, who are you drawn to as the best pair of twins in pro sports?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Bruno?
I'll start with you, Randy. Start with you, Randy.
You know what? For me, I really respected Tiki and Rondé Barber, but I have to say the Sedins.
Yeah.
For a pair of brothers, twins, to play on the same team and to be equally as good as each other. I mean, you got to assume that there's some healthy competition there. We always, we talk about family, we talk about kids. I think there would be no better dream for a parent, dads, to see their sons playing on the same NHL team and excelling. I mean, they were within a hair of a Stanley Cup. That would have been the icing on the cake. But to see those guys playing together at such a high level, it's not guaranteed that when you have two kids playing, that they're both going to be awesome. And Henrik Lundqvist, who is the all-time greatest goalie for the New York Rangers, had a brother. I think it's Jonathan Lundqvist, who played 3 years in the NHL. No one remembers the younger brother, but the Sedins come as a package and a lot more special because they're playing on the same team. So that'd be my pick.
Yeah, Bruno, you. Oh, Bruno, you're up. Mike's muted.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. We got you.
Yeah, I'm not doing this, right? I'm hands-free, right?
We need to get you a headset next time.
You want me to put a headset on? I can put a headset on. Okay.
Yeah, because there's a lot of feedback.
Okay, let's give this a try.
Come to the airplane.
Yeah. And just to follow up on your point, I love the Barbers. Like, I absolutely love the Barbers. They're exciting to watch, just stud players. But and as much as I hated the Sedins, because I was cheering for Calgary in those days, that magic that they had, one behind the net, the way they could take advantage, they could read each other's minds. They always knew where each other were. And I've never seen brothers, let alone twins, be able to have that kind of chemistry on the same team before. It was honestly, it was magical year after year.
Impact.
They were truly a package deal, right?
Yeah.
Truly a package deal.
Yeah. Let's see, Bruno.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, way better.
Way better.
So here's what I'm going to tell you. Even though they're not brothers, more modern day right now, the two brothers that play on the Don't Call Me the Cleveland Indians, Call Me the Guardians, the Naylor brothers from Toronto, right? That's unbelievable. Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Level of baseball. You got two kids, two brothers.
Canadians
from Toronto, the Naylor boys. I mean, we disposed of them, no problem, in the championship. Like, who's talking about them now? But great, fantastic. I got to go with the Barber twins, but outside of professional sports, I go with the Fasano twins, Tony and Frank. They're twins. I think they shared the same pair of Skechers. Ontario, great twins, Frank and Tony.
Bruno referring to the great Tony Fasano. Those of you in Calgary would know him as a great Vanier Cup winning head coach of the UFC football Dinos and another great friend of ours. You put Bruno and Tony and Joe Stambini in a room, you got a replay of the Goodfellas. Who's Joe Pesci? We know. Listen, we'll move on to the next one in the Blitz. Crazy finishes last week with 20 seconds left on the clock in the Montreal Alouettes game versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Montreal attempts a punt pretty much out of their end zone when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, hurricane force winds essentially blocked the punt. They got a 12-yard punt off with 10 seconds left. The Bombers kick a 51-yard field goal to clinch the first round bye. Let's watch it first, and then I'll ask my question. Just watch this. Watch this. This is unbelievable.
As all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the wind cranks up like crazy, and the flags are completely twisting, and we're getting essentially a snow shower of leaves, like a leaf tornado just came over the top of Mount Royal. And this could completely change the kick, and it's a sidewinder. It got into Zima's head, and it kicks out of bounds. Wow. That wind came out of nowhere.
This was unreal.
The football gods just smiled on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. A second chance, thanks to the weather gods smiling on Winnipeg. Low snap. Castillo steps into it. It's got the leg. It's good. The Bombers walk it off to win the West.
It's official, Marshall. God is a Bombers fan.
The CFL. Pretty good.
I don't know if God is a Bombers fan, but my question to you, does Mother Nature love the Bombers or does she hate poutine?
Yeah, I think it's a problem with our French Canadian friends in Quebec. I'm sure God loves poutine. Everybody loves poutine except for Chris Rubio. And I think he's gone to bed out there on the West Coast already. But I've never seen anything like that. You know what that reminded me of? That was such an act of God. Have you ever seen Castaway with Tom Hanks? Of course you have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's on the island. He's trapped there for years. It takes him 13 years to build a raft. And every year he waits for that one thing, the great winds to shift, the trade winds to shift. And, you know, we watched them shift right there at that moment where they started blowing the opposite direction. My question to you, Chev, or Bruno, is what are your options? Bruno, you coach for the Calgary Dinos. You're out of timeouts. There's 20 seconds left. You're on your own 20-yard line. What do? For me, I'd get one of my guys that pull a hamstring or a cramp and wait this one out. You got to stall for time in that situation, but they punted it.
Yeah, you know what?
Bruno, what would their options have been?
Well, you know, first of all, what I would have done if I was, you know, at the Dinos, I'd look to the head coach and say, this is your problem. But number one, I have a theory that I can plan for a lot of things, many things, maybe all things except for a meteor hitting the earth, right? And God created the 7 days and the universe, but he also created a timeout. So I don't know, I can't remember if they had a timeout. So it's a good time to use a timeout. Or look, okay, they're out of timeouts. I couldn't remember if they had them. The other thing is, right, just, I mean, take an offside penalty or something, stop it, and kind of go, hey, listen, I haven't seen this meteor hit, right? We were in a game a long time ago in 2000 that the lights kept going off at McMahon Stadium. For sure, I thought we were going to win, and everything kind of went sideways in the fourth quarter. Lights were going off, and you know, so you can't plan for everything, and you got to abandon for that moment. You have to abandon your game plan, your script, and what you think is normal. Stop and regroup for 30 seconds and say, okay, what do we do, right? So I think that's what you do. We played a game once in Raymond, Alberta, and the winds were insane. We didn't even kick off, you know, so we didn't punt. We had to go on third down, but that's what I would do.
Sheldon, you want to get the next question for this one's for Bruno.
Yeah, this one's for Bruno. So he gets the head coach fired. He gets the offensive coordinator demoted. He threw his receivers under the bus and then brought in his own guy. But still no improvements in play in the win or loss column. Is Aaron Rodgers public enemy number one, or do you still think it's Travis Kelce or the CFL commissioner?
Oh, CFL commissioner. We got to leave that guy alone. Randy tried his best. No, I mean, you can't blame Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's immunized. So we're okay. He didn't take the vaccine. And Mr. Pfizer, Travis Kelce, you can't blame him. He's on private jets all over the place. But being serious, just 2 seconds, if you want my opinion, Aaron Rodgers goes to the New York Jets. And I believe that the New York Jets, I went to grade 3. I was in the same grade 3 class as Christopher Columbus. So I'm pretty old. All right. And I've never known the Jets to be any good other than that 1 year in 69. I don't remember it. Right. But they've never been good. Right. So at some point, Aaron Rodgers maybe followed the money and thought he was the next, you know, he's a competitor. He's a warrior. I do respect Aaron Rodgers that he says what's on his mind. God bless him. But at the same time, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And that organization's, you know, they can't win. I mean, I give credit to Tom Brady because, you know, comparing the greatest to maybe the greatest, right? And he went to Tampa. They had an O-line that resembled like, you know, Mack trucks in front of you. Like they ran like crazy. It was fun. He just picked the wrong team to go to.
Yeah,
right?
I think
nobody's going to save the Jets.
I think the Jets thought that they could get what Tom Brady did in Tampa or what Peyton Manning did with the Broncos, but wasn't the organization for. You get the head coach fired in the middle of the season, it's usually a recipe for disaster. Doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady, doesn't matter if you're Peyton Manning. If you go there, you have you give that awkward hug that he did to Robert Saleh. We knew that something was wrong after that, right? Last question. You said leave him alone, but I'm not going to. Randy Ambrosie, CFL commissioner's contract will no longer be extended after the season, even though he indicated he had the energy to go on for a few more years. After a 7-year tenure that included navigating the league through COVID, did Randy Ambrosie deliver as a commissioner, or did the league miss the mark? Sheldon.
Well, you know what? That's interesting framing. Let me put it to you this way. The most Canadian answer that I can give you. I'm old enough to have seen the CFL over the years struggle and thrive, right? Right when you and I started playing together in the mid 2000s, the CFL was really at a heyday in terms of the stadiums had never been fuller. The TV viewership was on its way up. We were just getting the new CBA contracts negotiated, and the CFL was in a really good place.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the same thing, whether it's a political debate like in the States or in Canada. Is the CFL in better shape today than it was in 2017?
Yeah.
And, so no, it's not.
We lost Sheldon.
Yeah.
There you
Am I there?
Yeah, you're there.
So for me, the obvious answer is the CFL in a better shape than it was in 2017 when he was hired? No, it's not. Is it Randy Ambrosie's fault? No, I don't think so. I think he's been fine. If you watch sports overall with COVID and all these things, people are consuming sports differently than they have before. I would think that Randy Ambrosie was a good stabilizing force for a number of years. Did I love his initiatives? Well, what were his initiatives? The ones that I think of are getting tackling out of amateur football. Will history say that was a good move? Maybe, right? The international draft to bring in markets in Australia and Europe and Latin America. Well, yeah, we got a couple of punchers up here, a couple of less Canadian punchers too. But did our viewership or sponsorship grow because of those moves? I'm going to say no. I think he's a guy that really cared a lot about the game. But did he have a big impact in Canada? Well, yeah, I'll tell you what. If the only impact that he had was keeping us stable through some turbulent years, then he did a good job of keeping us together. Do I think we need a new direction to start growing the sport in a new era? I think we do, but I appreciate his service.
Yeah, I think Sheldon.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. There's some things I agreed with, some things I didn't, some things I've reconsidered. Like, for instance, when Randy came in, he was supposed to be a player-friendly commissioner. He was a player. He served as a member of the CFLPA. He knows local business in Winnipeg, very successful guy. He kind of had all the ingredients to be the perfect fit. And I think everything with that perfect fit was hinging on him setting up that 10th franchise in the Atlantic provinces. And I think that's where the league was heading. There was, like you said, there was stability, there was fans in the stands, and then COVID put a wrench in that. And all those other initiatives, like the international draft and the exposure that, they were going to try and get from international. I feel like that's not the CF. It's like going to say, well, we're going to go pluck fans from way over there, and there's no connection to what this game is. And I think he started reaching for what can we do, because we can't expand. And there's a lot of these, there was an initiative that they announced today or this week, a partnership that, they talked all about how they're going to connect with the diversity and the inclusion, which is fine. The different groups that haven't necessarily been represented before, to connect with those groups, to get more interest in the game. But you know what they haven't done? And we talked about this. They haven't connected with the grassroots. Like the biggest flag football league played across Canada is the NFL Canada Flag Football League. Like the CFL has missed opportunity after opportunity to connect, to get into small towns, to get the players there. The Riders did it well for a year, and that's what for years, and that's why the Riders were doing so well, is because they were grassroots. They brought the kids up in football, but I don't see it across the league.
Chevy,
out.
We had guys in our Bantam football team yesterday miss practice because their older brothers were playing Notre Dame, or for both Notre Dame and the Browns.
Yeah.
And the culture is you have to go to those games.
Yeah.
There's a connection between your future high school program and your Bantam program. But you know what we're not getting? Offers to come out. So CFL attendance is down. The CFL should be behind this, driving Bantam and Pee-wee and Atom football into the stadiums. There should be, listen, if you've got 10,000 open seats in the stadium, they should be filled by every football player or prospective football player in that city across the country.
Yeah, no, I agree. And these initiatives, again, to connect with these more politically and socially motivated groups, I don't know if it works, because how many of those people are football fans? He said it in his speech, he said our social media numbers are better than they ever have been. But does social media really is really a metric for a customer, or is it just a metric for people that follow your content? You know, they need customers, they need butts and seats, and they
need the money. They need people putting money where their mouth is.
And the only thing that I might actually give him credit for is I thought that maybe during COVID, and I was on record as saying that maybe a partnership with the XFL, UFL, something might have helped the CFL. But seeing as how that league, it's still around, but it transformed, that might have been the death of the CFL, possibly.
So I'll tell you what here, Chev. I'm gonna give the last word on this topic to I'm gonna give the last word on this topic to you, Bruno, because you've seen the CFL. I remember, and my dad was years older than you, but I remember walking into his childhood basement and seeing CFL cards up there. You've seen the CFL through the 70s and 80s competing with the NFL, to the 90s and falling apart, and in the thousands of resurgence. What does the CFL need? Was it Randy Ambrosie's fault? Did he do a good job? And what needs to happen next?
You know, I'll tell you something. I'm going to take a chapter out of Randy's speech at McGill. Okay. The CFL, okay, when I was growing up, okay, Joe Theismann signed with the Toronto Argonauts. Like, look up who Joe Theismann is. Leon McQuay, Vince Ferragamo, okay? I can go on, Anthony Davis. These guys were first round. Johnny Rogers. Yeah. Johnny Rogers was a guy from Nebraska, single-handedly, I think, transformed the CFL. He was unstoppable, right? And they came up here and we competed for their money. Now, the chapter I'm going to take out of Randy's speech is McGill allowed him to dream. Correct, Randy?
Yep.
And the CFL, to me, and to the friends I grew up with, okay, the CFL, the players were so close to you. You felt you knew every single player. We knew every single player. Like, there's not one player. I'll get on the phone with my friend Larry Ring, God bless him. He was a McGill coach and an Ottawa U coach. We talk vividly of the players that were there. And I'm going to tell you something. I always tell people, like in business, whatever, whoever wants to listen, I said, chances are, if you want to solve a problem today, go back in time. Regression is progression. I would strongly recommend to the new commissioner, and by the way, Daryl and I had secret meetings. We're going to lobby for co-commissioners. We talked about this, okay? I'm going to tell you who our choice is, okay? And we're going to lobby hard, okay? And the thing is that regress back, and the new commissioner should say, let me go back and just see what they did right in the late 60s, 70s, and mid 80s. How did we compete for that? Now they're going to say it's out of control because you have all these players, and gambling is a huge thing right now. Okay. I'm going to go on the record. I'm 100% anti-gambling. Okay. But the reality is gambling keeps these guys afloat. So go back and see what was happening. I'm going to tell you one thing. At my little amateur football teams that I played for, okay, riders used to come out there. They used to come out. And they used to hang out with us, and they used to throw the ball around, and they were making cash, baby. They were making more money up here than they were in the NFL. How did that transform? Let's just leave it at that. So Daryl and I were, we're going to lobby for you guys to be co-commissioners. The only problem with that is we have Chevy and Nasty running the CFL. The only problem or opportunity is that all games have to be played at Tuesday between 11 and 12.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know, Bruno, we appreciate the nod from you and Daryl to be the commissioners of the CFL, but we can't even commission our way through a proper bet. You see, we've been, we've been running a tally all year of the picks. And then last week, all of a sudden I owe Sheldon a poutine when I thought it was just a friendly bet. So we talked at the beginning of the show.
Dude, that's a lie.
We talked at the beginning of the show. We're heading into the playoffs. You're going to be the witness here. So now we have an official witness. Trey's saying it. I hear Trey. He's like, don't forget the picks. Don't forget the picks. We're heading into week 1 of the CFL playoffs. We got Ottawa versus Toronto. We got BC versus Saskatchewan. It's the first week, the semifinals in the East. Played on Saturday this year. I think this is the second year they do that. We got to make some picks. But first of all, we got to decide. Is it like week to week? Is it an aggregate of all the things that, by the time Grey Cup happens, it could be sealed up? Like, how do we want to do this? What would be the best way for Chevy and Nasty to pick our way to a prize? And what prize should that be? Bruno, you tell us, give us some guidance.
I know what the prize is.
Yeah, what is it?
The prize is we get, I've never met Sheldon's lovely wife. We get her to get us an airplane just to go in and out. And the loser gets to get rubbed in the face by one of you guys with the bum. You know what I mean?
Oh, so one guy sits, one guy gets the crotch.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, done.
I think that's fair.
Sponsored by WestJet.
Yeah, or we take the opportunity to thank all your fans when we meet at Spalumbo's, another great CFL alumni, Tony Spallettini, and we can go to Spalumbo's. And you guys can buy each other the lunch that you guys lost to whoever lost, and the rest of us will enjoy our company before Christmas.
I love it.
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
I
was gonna say, yeah, I love it, Sheldon. I was gonna say maybe we should do a Grey Cup party at Spalumbo's and hit it live. I don't know. We have a couple weeks to plan, and we've pulled off crazier stuff, right, Sheldon?
Yeah, you know what though? It doesn't have to be that big, but it can be invited a few of our closest friends, guys that have been following us all along. And yes, everybody knows you reneged on the poutine. But you know what? If we can make this a brand new thing. I love the lunch at Spalumbo's, and we'll invite all you guys to join us.
Okay. A lunch at Spalumbo's is on the line, and we're picking the winners.
And it's just be a chance to get everybody together. That's the deal. That's the bet.
And worst case scenario, I know I owe you a sandwich at Spalumbo's, even if nobody else shows up. So let's do it. We pick every game coming up. What does it say? Unfortunately, Randy, you guys didn't make picks last week, so I vote for
clean. Yeah, total close. Yeah, we did make picks because they're all meaningless games, and I was already too far ahead. But this week,
great forfeit. Thanks, Trey. I love you having my back. Okay, so we're gonna go all the picks all the way through the Grey Cup. We're still gonna make a Grey Cup prediction. That's gonna be the ultimate king. But let's pick Sheldon. Ottawa at Toronto. Who do you got?
This one I think is an easy one. Ottawa has never totally regained their momentum. Good team. They'll be better next year. Toronto Argonauts at home for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I picked the Toronto Argonauts as much as you know what? Chad Kelly really rubbed me the wrong way. He probably rubs me the wronger way than Aaron Rodgers in New York. A lot wronger.
Did he tip to tip rub you the wrong way, like on an airplane, or?
Yeah, he's probably a tip to tip guy too. If he's on the airplane, that Chad Kelly guy.
He is.
Guaranteed. No, he's probably a tip that he probably turns crotch to mouth all the time. Anyways, I'm picking the Toronto Argonauts in that one. And then we're going to move to the West. BC Lions at Saskatchewan.
Tough one.
I'm going to start it off. Listen, at the beginning of the year, I watched the BC Lions rise out of the ashes on the shoulders of Vernon Adams. They hit a bumpy patch. They hit a little bit of turbulence. Maybe there's a little bit of tip to tip action in there, but Rick Campbell names Vernon Adams a starter. He goes to Montreal, has a dominant performance. His players are playing for him. Justin McInnes back in the winning ways. I'm picking the BC Lions. As much as I hate to say it, my good buddy Corey Mace coaching for the Rough Riders, I'm going to pick the BC Lions.
Chev, here's the problem that we're going to have. We've got 2 games to pick on, and we're seeing it the same way. I would love to come out and say that the Riders are going to win this game. I want them to come out and win this game. But when I take a look at Vernon Adams and the resurgence he went through after all those weeks off, it could have easily derailed him as a distraction, chip on his shoulder, wasn't ready to go. He looked better than ever last week. And because of that, I got to agree with you. As much as it hurts me to say, Vernon Adams is going to lead the BC Lions to victory in Regina this weekend.
Well, there you go. So
this
nothing's
getting decided this weekend.
It's going to be a Push. We're on the same page. We hope our picks come true. Listen, guys, thank you so far for listening to the ride with Chevy and Nasty. Thank you, Bruno, for joining us. It was an awesome conversation.
I just have one more. I just have one more thing to say. I believe that all flight attendants, based on this conversation the last couple of weeks, should be given flags like referees. And then if there's ever like Randy that rubs his ass on somebody or something, it's like illegal contact, 37D. And you got to kind of go to the bathroom and locked up for a second, and you get no snacks.
What's the flag? What's the flag for no shoes? Listen, Bruno, thanks for joining us. Listen, we've always wanted to do this with you. We know we're going to do it more. Just before you go, Megapix, give us another plug for Megapix, where we can find our show, where all our fans can find our show, because I want to make sure everyone knows where to go if they want to listen to the show on your platform.
Yeah, so YouTube is Megapix Media on YouTube or on every single platform, Megapix Media. And then locally, it's YYC Calgary Business. And every airport code, so YOW is Ottawa, so you go www.yowottawabusiness.ca. Winnipeg, their airport code. Montreal is YUL. So you guys are coast to coast, and we are super, super happy. We're going to try to do everything we can to get you guys to the next level, whatever that level is. I think you guys have already arrived, but I'm biased. And I got to thank my partners for allowing me to come up here, because you guys wanted me to shoot the shit a little bit. And never stop believing, even if you're down 3-0 in the World Series. It's amazing. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's ride.
Well, Bruno, thanks so much, guys, joining us tonight. Remember, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, where else? Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and now we're gonna add a new logo. We're gonna have to have the YYC business logo or Megapix. Guys, we're gonna take a little break here. We're gonna wrap it up in the next segment. It's gonna be a little bit of overtime. We're gonna hit that midnight hour a little bit more. Bruno, thanks for joining us. Nasty, great job. Can't wait to see you on the flip side of this ad. Let's go.
Performance Freight Management is a global logistic freight shipping company that will handle the entire shipping process for any package to any country. Whether it be a simple truck shipment from your office to Toronto or your company importing generators from China, PFM Freight handles it all. We have the expertise and technology to handle any shipping requirements. Skip the guesswork and let us take the shipping pain off your plate.
Experience our new fundraising event, Ignite the Night YYC, this November when we bring the fire hall to the Big 4 Roadhouse. Featuring a firefighter challenge, live entertainment, and fabulous food and drink. Tickets and sponsorship opportunities available now. Support the Calgary Firefighters Burn Treatment Society. Ignite the Night YYC this November. Help us help those who have experienced a life-changing burn injury.
That was good. That was good. Hey, Bruno.
I love that guy. You know what's funny? Like, I could honestly have him on for an hour, because I don't feel we really introduced you to this guy.
No,
a young Italian punk out of Ottawa that's traveled Canada, ended up in Calgary, start several businesses over the years. Megapix is an amazing company, but he also stayed true to baseball. He coached, wasn't the Calgary Dinos? He coached for the Calgary Dinos.
The Dinos. He's
dude, like that's major Canadian college football. This guy knows everything. This guy has recorded albums. He's done everything.
Yeah, he's an international man of mystery, and I've known Bruno for a number of years from when I was introduced to Bruno from Coach Tom Higgins and Coach Tony Fasano when we started the Canadian football academy. It was meant to instill leadership and to help coaches. It was a different type of coaching and football academy. And we started in 2016. And unfortunately, COVID really did a number on us. We weren't able to get the traction. I think you came out and spoke to one of our groups of campers that one summer down at the Shriners Field. So
Yeah,
I've known Bruno since then. He's an awesome guy. He's got so many stories. He's such a big, not just a friend, but he's a fan of ours. He loves our show. I saw his son Dominic was out there. He said, left a little comment. Who let the animal out of the cage?
I've talked film with Dominic before. He's an impressive young kid too. That's what I was trying to get to earlier. Hey, sometimes Bruno's a sports guy. His sons are involved in sports, but Dominic is took it. Actually, funny enough, kind of the same direction Bruno's company did, getting involved in the media side. So he's going to have an empire with those two boys for sure.
Yeah, and you're right. We didn't get a chance to get into the deep stuff. Like I really skipped over Bruno's role as dad. Like the people out there don't know that Bruno used to bring his kids every year to San Diego State baseball camp to help their kids improve, to help you get exposure. And look, their kids are both kids. Dami and Mateo are in the States now. I think Dami walked on at a school in Texas the other day and just blasted some balls. And the coach, like, typical American coach, who's that guy? And invited him as a kind of walk on. He'll be starting.
I didn't hear that story. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's tons of stories. We've actually tossed around the idea of doing a segment, the regular segment with Bruno called Bruno's. On the ride with Chevy and Nasty. I don't know if he stays up this late normally, but Bruno, you're listening. We know you're there. Thanks for being on. We're going to move on. We're going to go to, we're not at overtime yet, so don't play it, Trey. You play it when the clock hits midnight. That we know. But we are going to hit. It's the fourth segment of the night, the last segment of the night. We got a couple of things to cover. The first thing that we got to cover is the good old, we revived it last week, Sheldon, the studs and the duds of the week. Would you like to begin?
Sure. Where do we start? You want to start with the duds?
Well, yeah, let's go.
Let's start with the duds. Guys, if you've made it to the highest step of the pyramid that you can make it, if you're Randy Chevrier accepting the Hall of Fame from McGill Sports, and they make a statue in your honor, make
nice.
Sure it looks like you. My dud of the week, Dwayne Wade, Miami Heat, absolute legend in the NBA, comes out. They have a statue made in front of the arena that he made famous and filled all those years. And you got a picture of this? What the hell is that? Guys, and I'll tell you, I'm going to give this a little bit of slack. This is the same group and the same artists and the same producers that made the statue for Michael Jordan. But that doesn't look like Dwayne Wade. Do you have the other photo that I put up there of Morpheus? You guys remember watching Matrix? Maybe it's not there. That's fine. That looks more like Morpheus when he's hooked up to those tubes and those machines on the penthouse level of that office building, and the machine guns are like, chugga, 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 chugga. That's it. That is a shot of Morpheus. 150 years from now, his great-grandchildren are going to come to honor him, and they're going to think he looked like Morpheus.
Yeah, they think
that's all I got.
Lawrence Fishburne playing for the Miami Heat. This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. The other one that came a couple of years ago was the one of Cristiano Ronaldo, great world famous soccer player. I don't know if you've seen the Cristiano Ronaldo one. Is it on this page? Yeah, look at that. Right?
Top right.
Like, man, that if that's your bust, dude,
look at the guy at the bottom left, guys. Well, I don't even know what I'm looking at there. It looks like a voodoo doll. Like, what the heck is that?
Andy Murray in the middle. The one at the bottom right is Diego Maradona. The one at the top left is David Beckham. And it was a I don't know if it was a Victoria's Secret or something.
That's in New York, yeah.
That's in New York. But the Cristiano Ronaldo one was bad. Every year they do the CFL Hall of Fame, and I love the CFL. I love the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. But gosh, sometimes I see some of those busts. I think Milt Stegall tweeted today. He's like, I think he tweeted to Dwayne Wade. He's like, bro, I feel your pain. And I think Milt Stegall has a picture of a bunch. Yeah, I'd agree. That's a dud. I guess the people who did it, they're the dud. Well, I'm going to give you my dud of the week is Bears player Tyreek Stevens. So let me set this up. Tyreek Stevens is cornerback for the Chicago Bears. They're winning the game against the Washington Commanders. Washington is probably on the 50-yard line, probably their own 45-yard line, attempting a Hail Mary. And as he's backing up deep into coverage, which is what you do when a team's going to Hail Mary, he's taunting the crowd, not even paying attention to the play. You can see him there in the bottom left corner. He's taunting the crowd. You know what? The pictures don't do it justice. Video.
Do we have video?
Do we have the video, Trey? If we have the video, let's play what happens here. Karma, they say karma's a bitch, and in this case, it was a bitch in front of millions of fans. Trey, you got the video? Please tell me you got the video. I know I asked you before.
Jay, and again, first and foremost, the game is not over your back. I can't fathom being this just out of touch with what's going on.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And I know I sit here and I say to myself, and I get why these guys do it, because when it comes down to contract talk, an interception goes a lot farther than a PBU.
Right.
But in that moment, you just wish that one of the 5 Bears would say, hey, we're not going to tip.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Tyreek Stevens said not only was he taunting the crowd and, counting his, what do they say? Counting your chickens before they hatch, the tortoise in the hare, the whole thing.
Chev, the play was underway. Guys were running routes down the field, and he was still making eye contact with the fans.
And the worst thing is he's the one who tipped the ball. And he apologized today. Good for him. He learned. He said, he tweeted out, he said to my teammates, I apologize for my lack of awareness and focus.
Oh, my bad.
The game ain't over until zeros hit the clock. Can't take anything for granted. Notes taken. Improvement will happen. Well, you know what? Some guys.
God, you don't need improvement. My boys have known watching football with me from the time they're 4 years old. Yeah. Here comes the ball in the last 3 seconds to a defensive back. Break up the pass. Oh, no. He grabbed the interception. Okay, you got the INT. Take a knee. And they know from the time they're 4 years old, don't go running down the field making jukes and cuts trying to score. Take the win. That's all that matters. For me, Chev, can I go on? Can I have 1 minute on this subject?
Hey, this is you. We're heading to overtime. No worries.
The big thing, big thing in the NHL right now.
Have your minute.
So I wish I sent Trey these clips. But the big thing in the NHL right now is the death stare. Have you seen that? When a guy scores a goal, instead of celebrating, they skate up to someone in the crowd wearing the opposing jersey.
Yeah. And
they give him the death stare. Well, in the other night, Winnipeg's in town against Calgary. Rasmus Anderson does that. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool. He finds a girl in a Winnipeg jersey behind the net, and he gives her the death stare. She's loving it, right? The engagement between fan and player is something we didn't have in our era. It was very rare that you engaged like that. And if I'm catching my one Winnipeg Jets game in Calgary and Rasmus Anderson gives me the death stare, that's a story for my lifetime. It must have been awesome. But that was after the goal. Yeah. This was during the play, Randy. Yeah. During the play. I'm sorry. I do not settle for my bad. Do you know how hard it is to win in the NFL? Yes, you do know. Do you know how hard it is to stay in the NFL? It's a lot easier when you're winning, right, Randy?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the no fun league. And I do find
and guys like this, I just found like maybe I'm the old guy throwing bricks at the TV and telling kids to get off my lawn.
You go.
Celebrate after the play, dude. And even then, he baited him. I don't know if you noticed, but when everybody's like clustering up in the end zone, he's off, 12 yards, 15 yards to the side because he knows the ball's going to be in the air for 6.4 seconds.
Yeah.
And he's trying to bait the throw so he can go in there and be the hero.
Yeah.
Dude.
And done. He's the zero.
Yeah, I know he's your dad, and I kind of hijacked that one. But
no, you take it. Sheldon, I talk over you all the time. You take it, run with it. This is your show. It's not mine. It's our show. No, he's the ultimate dud. yeah, you hit such a bunch of points. We could go off forever because there's always a teammate that does that thing that especially with the big penalties. The big penalties when they take a stupid penalty, you're come on, man. And but when it costs you a game like that, a game that you pretty much won, oh, it stings. It stings.
Dude,
the only thing
99% of the time they've won that game.
The only game that I remember that I could feel probably what those guys felt was in Saskatchewan in 2007, I believe it was, maybe 2006. We were coming back. We were driving. We had a bit to climb, but Sandro was kicking field goals from everywhere. And we recovered the onside kick, and we were going to go to score to win. But the guy on the other side of the onside kick, the guy that didn't even have to run, all he had to do was stand there.
Just lie down. Just lie down. Lie down.
Yeah, Cedric Williams. Cedric Williams. Never forget. Can't forget the name. I mean, I can't say anything bad about the guy, but I can tell you that
that day
he was Tyreek Tyreek Stevenson. He was the dud of the week because he went offside on the away from the onside kick that we recovered, which would have helped us get to win the game. So yeah, I know what it feels like. It's obviously bigger stakes in the NFL. And what this guy did, it's inexcusable. I mean, can you bench a guy like that in the NFL? Can you be like, you know what, you cost us a game, you're done? Or do they just be like,
you could trade him? You could trade him.
Would you trade? Is that a tradable offense?
No, if this is like week 12 of the season or whatever, it's not that you can still recover from that. But there's certain points in the season that you couldn't forgive that, right?
Yeah,
you couldn't
like the playoffs.
If it had a playoff implication, absolutely. Even the last couple of games of the year that cost you a position.
All right.
Anyway,
we spent way too much time on our duds.
That was a good one, though, Shev.
But it was. But we got to get to our heroes of the week, the studs of the week. Sheldon, can I start with this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So last night I was at my son's playoff game. Bruno alluded to it. So Brett, my son in grade 11, plays senior football, St. Francis Browns playoff game, city semifinal against Henry Wisewood. The Browns were crushing. Like I mean, it was a crush. I think it was like 58-7. It ended, maybe more.
I think he ended up in the 60s, actually.
In the 60s. Brett scored a touchdown. He got to play. It was great to watch. But the greatest thing that I saw of all the great football that's played by St. Francis Brown, what the greatest thing that stood out to me was Nevis Pody, who we both coached for Mavericks, and we coach his brother Lachlan now, and Bennett Anderson, who I've coached for the Cowboys. Two of my former players, they both play defensive tackles for the St. Francis Browns. A player, offensive lineman from Henry Wisewood, went down. He was down for quite a long time, probably a good 5 minutes. The cart comes out. You could see there, you don't see it too clearly, but in the background is the whole offensive line of the Henry Wisewood. That's the team in purple. And the two guys carrying the Henry Wisewood player onto the stretcher is Bennett Anderson and Nevis Pody. These guys are awesome, fantastic players. They were laying a smackdown, but they did it with class. They picked that kid up, they put him on the stretcher, and then they continued to beat up on Henry Wisewood. So for me, those are my studs because that is what football is all about. It teaches you to play hard. It teaches you to play tough. It teaches you never to put your foot off the gas, but you also have to have respect for your opponent. And to me, it was illustrated in that moment. And Nevis, Bennett, you guys are my studs of the week. You don't win anything, but you got a trip to the city finals on Saturday. So good luck, boys. I want to start you down your road to the provincials, and it starts with a win against Ernest Manning if you can pull it off on Saturday night. So those are my
win or not though, Chef. If that was a loss, that's a class move. I like that because that wasn't something you coach a guy to do specifically. That's years of good parenting, good coaching, and just a good kid that gets what's important. Be the first guy out there on the field to help for sure.
Yep. Absolutely. Who's your stud of the week?
Well, my stud, here's a funny thing. So we're heading into Halloween week. And in our family, we love Halloween. My family, like you see, I've got the, I can't know if you can tell those are pumpkin lights behind me, or if they just look like
might say a little decor. Hey, you finally,
and there's a couple of skulls below my football helmet. And no, those weren't quarterbacks that I sacked in college, that I had this like sick thing where I just like kept the skull.
I thought that was Dickinson.
No. Dickinson's head's still afloat.
He's
but
still
that's a subject
alive.
for next week. Yeah, he's still alive. But you know what? I love Halloween, and the reason I love Halloween so much is because when my boys were young, we used to decorate the house. We used to be the family that put boots sticking out of the garage with scary lights and music and hands sticking out. We probably went too scary than we should have. But you know what? The neighborhood kids loved it. Halloween is all about the kids. And in my community of Evanston, Calgary, there was this amazing tradition. A guy named Jordan Wheatley. I've never met him before, but he had this amazing haunted house structure every Halloween that would go up. Yesterday on Facebook in our community page, we were notified that a Karen called bylaws on him. Bylaws showed up that very same day and ordered him to have it down by tomorrow afternoon.
Ooh.
Halloween. Ordered him to have it down. And I
bet the comment section was just lit up.
I'll tell you what, I get it. Now, you guys look at this nice picture here with when all the tarps are down with the northern lights in the background. Yeah, it looks pretty good. But you know what? It looks like a lot going on there.
Yep.
And I get that some people may have a problem with that, but for goodness sake, it's Halloween. This guy's been doing this for years. And what you really read in the comments were some just anger at people, butting their nose in other people's business, and other people saying, oh my God, my kids were so excited to go there again this year.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to build a community. You talked about Randy Ambrosie. It's not just good ideas. It's people that go in there and make things happen and connect people. And this is Jordan Wheatley in Evanston. Looks like one of those guys that did it for us. It was about to be my dud for having him rip it down. But somebody in our community actually got on the phone and called CBC, CTV, and Global. CTV and CBC were on their way to shoot the story today when a city bylaw officer came by and said, we reviewed your case. And there's not action infraction. You're within your property boundaries. As long as you have it down by November 5th, you're okay. Thanks. And so Jordan Wheatley won thanks to the help of the Evanston community people. Listen, we just beat City Hall, and it takes guys like Jordan to do it. And I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a great story.
Good on you, Jordan. And, I concur with you. I love Halloween. I didn't really do Halloween too much. I used to do it a lot. Then when I got divorced, my kids did most of the Halloween activities at their mom's house, which I let her have, and which is fine. She does all the stuff, the parties and stuff, and the kids love it. But haven't really done the Halloween at my place, which is fine.
Chevy, let me take you back one step though. You haven't done it at your place. When your kids before the divorce?
Yeah.
Did you take your kids out walking down the street with their baskets collecting candy?
Oh, yeah, that's what I did. And our house was always decked out. I love Halloween. I love Halloween. So I love this. And what I was going to actually say is in this day and age, you got kids, I got kids. We know how hard it is to get the kids off the couch and out if they don't have a pre-planned or scheduled activity. And Halloween is one of those days that gets all the kids out. I almost think we need another day like that. Maybe in the summer when it's a little bit warmer. We need another day that gets all the kids out. I'm up for a second Halloween. I love Halloween. I love Christmas. I love Christmas. So, but you don't go trick-or-treating on Christmas. But I think it's great. I love your stud of the week because it is a happy ending, because we've seen too many times that
the community won. A guy stood up and said, I'm not going to take this down until I've exhausted every last option. And they did it all within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And there's a community coming together.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I work very close. My office is next to a lot of the Calgary safety codes officers, right? And, when you say firefighters got a 99% approval and firefighters are the heroes, the guys that people don't like from the fire department are the safety codes officers.
Safety officers.
Well, safety codes officers, because they're the guys that shut down the parties. They're the guys that tell you can't have so many people. They're the guys that make it difficult for business owners to operate, but they're the guys
that couldn't quite hold down the hose during fireman training. Is that what you're telling me?
No. But what I'm trying to say is they have a difficult job.
Yeah, for
sure. And
the
difficult job is the management of safety and public peace, right? And when a safety codes officer, at least from fire department's perspective, is going in and they're at the point where they're shutting someone down, it's because the person did not heed several warnings before they get to that part. In this case, I'm sure there weren't a lot of warnings because they probably didn't know until someone reported them. So it is really nice to see the process went through. The bylaw officers reviewed it and they made a positive decision. But again, I could see where things can get
Jody
unpopular.
Gondik tried to shut it down, but the community stood up against her, and
that's how you're selling this.
The community shall survive.
Yeah, that's how you're selling it. That it was Jody. I don't know if it's Jody, but I'm glad that
Personally, I'm sure it was.
I'm glad it's up. I'm glad there was no safety issues because, again, my job is a community safety officer. I see situations that can be very dangerous for people. One thing can go wrong and it could be a disaster. This is not the case. But again, safety codes officers, bylaw officers, they're there not because they want to make your life difficult. They're there because they want to make sure things are safe. And sometimes some laws don't make sense.
Chev, I'm sorry. I know what you're
one.
saying, and I have all the respect in the world for safety officers, but they were called because somebody in the community took it upon themselves.
For sure. No doubt. No doubt.
Party.
You see that all the time. And that's how it is. You're going to deal with those people all the time. And then there's going to be the outrage, the social media outrage that's going to follow. And it's either going to change or it's going to get worse. And that's how it goes. But you know what? Speaking of Halloween, okay, I love Halloween. We mentioned Halloween.
Well, we're going to keep the ride going.
Yeah, well, we got just a couple more minutes. I love Halloween.
I was excited about this one. Let's go.
Yeah. Not just for the decorations and not just for the awesome costumes. Before we get to what we're going to talk about, what was your best Halloween costume that you ever had all time as a kid, as an adult? Do you have one as a kid?
Oh, no. But dude, you're talking to a guy that was raised on a rural Saskatchewan farm. We didn't have access to the fancy Halloween costume shops. Probably my best costume was my mom 2 days before Halloween realizing that, okay, we got to put something together, and sew together a Frankenstein costume with like,
that'd be good,
pants and orange, but just one of those like, so the costume was awesome. It works. Yeah. And then you throw on that Frankenstein mask. Remember those old plastic masks that fit your head? But I had all this hair and a big head for like a 10-year-old, and I pull the string over and it snaps. Right. So I'm pretty sure I busted my mask like the first, and then you know what you do is you take that elastic band and you tie a bigger knot in it, but it keeps getting shorter and shorter. It starts snapping in different places. But my mom made me a Frankenstein costume when I was a kid, and I thought it was awesome.
That's pretty sweet. I'll tell you what mine was. So, you know, I'm a big geek, right? Like I'm a super geek.
Totally.
And you know what? You ever have, if there's ever a trend where people like it for the trend, but they don't really know the history of it, they're like, oh, I'm a fan of this or a fan of that. So I don't know if you remember when the Batman movie came out with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, right? And it was like Jack Nicholson was amazing as the Joker and Michael Keaton was amazing as Batman, right? So I think it was junior high, we had like a bat dance. They decided to have a bat dance. And literally everybody at the dance was either Batman or the Joker. Well, I'm a super Batman fan and I'm a geek. So my mom made me the awesomest Riddler costume. And I'm talking about the Riddler costume.
I was going to say Robin, but if Riddler's way better.
Riddler in the old Adam West TV show. You know what, like the green type with the purple gloves and the question mark.
Yeah.
It was sick. But you go to a bat dance when nobody else is a comic book fan and everyone's like, who the hell are you? The Green Lantern? The Green Pickle? So it didn't really work for the context, but the costume was awesome. And then as an adult, a few times when I had longer hair, a couple of times I went as the Incredible Hulk. Easiest costume in the world. Just paint yourself green, tear up some shorts, tear up a shirt, and wear some flip-flops, and you're running around in October in -20 going to the clubs as the Hulk. So that was Hulk and the Riddler were my two best costumes.
There you go.
But what I really want to talk about is the candy. You know, you and I are the 300-pound poets. We're 300 pounds for a reason. We don't just eat the fine delicacies of life and sip from the cup, the goblet of life. We love to indulge in the sweeter things. And Halloween, there's no better time than to have a great selection of candy than in your kids' hard-earned Halloween treat bag.
Oh, for sure.
Thanks to is that Knuckles? Knuckles is where
and Trey, I'll tell you what, keep this up here because this is a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
So what's the question then, Chev?
So the question is what's your favorite Halloween? Not candy bar if you're going to Circle K right now to buy a candy bar because you have a craving. I'm talking about Halloween. You're going to get bite-sized candies, maybe a full chocolate bar. What's your favorite thing to get for Halloween in the candy bag that you're stealing from your kids?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not the Bounty, because I'm not sure I can even like somebody that likes the Bounty bar. The cherry blossom, I'm going to say I hated.
They're so dry and gross. Like it's always like the chocolate looks gray. I've never seen a fresh
on the cherry blossom.
Cherry blossom. Yeah, they're always gray.
Every once in a while, you got one that was actually kind of good. Like I have a love-hate with. I won't even admit it. I hate the cherry blossom.
Yeah, me too.
But once in a while, I loved it. For me, it was. It's still to this day. When I got the packs, if I got the mini chocolate bars, I wanted a mini coffee crisp, a mini Smartie, a mini crunchy, and a mini crispy crunch, and that would be all I needed. If I could just have those 4 coffee crisp, Smarties, just because I like the variation of colors, crunchy and crispy crunch. Those were my 4 go-tos for sure.
Okay.
What was yours?
Well,
am I allowed to pick 4?
Well, I think you picked half the board there.
I'll say. Oh no. I picked less than a third. I picked a quarter.
Kids, we're going to separate the candy. All the chocolates are gone.
For Halloween alone, it was a crunchy because it was just perfectly sweet. I can't eat those all year long, but they were so sweet. I love them.
For me, the one that I'm stealing, like the number one on that list is the crispy crunch. That's the one in the bite size.
Yeah,
so
for
damn
sure.
good. I wouldn't buy one of those. If I went to the store and I bought a chocolate bar on that list today, probably getting a caramel or a Cadbury dairy milk, like just milk chocolate. But I'll tell you which is the least favorite. Like if I get this in my bag, I'm throwing it out, I'm just throwing it back at the person I get. Like if I went trick or treat and they gave me a pack of Thrills, like that gum that you chew it once and it becomes rock hard and tastes of nothing. If I get a pack of Thrills, I'm throwing it back at the person. That is my least favorite thing.
What number is Thrills? What number is Thrills?
Thrills is what is it? 18 over there. It's the purple gum.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't even have those in Saskatchewan. Oh God, no.
Those are absolutely disgusting. But if I got,
I love this. So Jim, and I was just about to ask you this because I can't quite see it close enough. 21. Jamin loved 21 as well. To change it up from chocolate. Are those the little ones you uncurled and they're all like the little the
little rocket candies.
Those were good too.
Those are good.
Those were absolutely good.
Pure sugar. Pure sugar. It's just sugar with a little bit of flavor on it.
No, there's some food coloring.
You know what I used to like getting that they don't have on this list? You remember the little square caramels that you had to unwrap one at a time, the little plastic ones? You know, it was like a little clear wrapper. I think it was a Cadbury caramel, and it was like a little square, looked like fudge.
I think that goes back to early 80s, doesn't it?
But it's a little square thing in a clear wrapper, and they had like the darker ones, and then they had the more like brown mapley looking ones. Anyways, they're called caramel, craft caramels. Yes, Shauna Bones knows what I'm talking about. Craft caramel.
Oh, no. Yeah, in the clear plastic wrappers.
Yeah. So this is the thing. When you're a fat kid like I was, this is what you do. If you get craft caramels, you take them all. Okay, and you spend the time to unwrap probably 40 or 50 of them, right? And you get a parchment paper and you put it on your kitchen table.
Way.
And then you put them all together and you get your rolling pin, your mom's rolling pin, and you roll them out and you make a craft caramel pizza. It's the greatest. I'm telling you,
my God.
Oh yeah, it's the best. But it takes forever to unwrap. Like my fingers. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. It's just getting the wrapper off. When you have big like fingers like ours, it's kind of hard to get up. But when you get about 40 or 50
and some of them melted, and gotten solid, so that like the wrapper's like frozen right in there. But like I can imagine when you say like Peter, roll it out, warm it up, roll it out, you can drop your Smarties on there. You can crumble up your crispy crunch on there.
Yes.
Reese's Pieces would be ridiculous on that. I know it's not Canadian, but
we should go trick or treating. Do you think we could go trick or treating?
Yeah, you and me. You know what? I've got a Jason mask here in the house somewhere. I'm just gonna throw on a Jason mask and throw on some bloody clothes. We got.
I'm just gonna put on your jersey. I'm gonna put on your jersey with a Stamps helmet. I'll go as you, and you can go as me.
I'm gonna wear your Chevrolet. What was your Saskatchewan jersey? Is it the Chevrolet?
Shurier. They forgot
Shurier. I'll wear your Shurier jersey, and we're gonna hit it on Thursday night.
We should shave our heads and go as Rubio.
I'm not shaving my head, dude.
No, I'm not either. Your hair's too perfect, guys. That was a great episode. Want to thank Bruno for being there, being part of the show. Want to thank all of you for joining. Sheldon, I have fun. I love when you get on a roll. Like when you got on a roll, when
Got
we
me
were
fired up,
talking
dude.
about my dud. I like when you're fired up. When you're fired up, it's fun. The show is always fun. Trey, our fantastic producer in the back, keeping up with our chaos because we throw curveballs at him. We change the show order at the last second. He always keeps up, always does a fantastic job. Performance Freight Management for sticking with us. We Drone, a real estate media. Now Megapix, YYC Business. They're on board as our new partners. You can find us there. Again, for all of you out there, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, at Chevy and Nasty. Please like, subscribe, share, repost our social media posts so more of your friends get a clip. We'll do a better job of posting some clips, so please share the news. We want to keep this ride going, and we want more people, most people as we can. Rob Evans loves the earlier start. We love it too.
Awesome.
And we love all you guys. We're going to be back next week. It's episode 50. Hopefully we get a special guest. Is that the plan, Sheldon? We get a special guest?
Dude, we've talked about a few different things. I think we're gonna get a special guest, but I think we got some work cut out for us this week because 50 is a big number. It's not just a number; it's a big number.
It's a big number.
We'll figure it out. And guys, I'll tell you what. As soon as we figure out, you guys are going to be the first to know. We're just so thankful that you guys have followed us right up until overtime, the 2-hour mark of the show, and we can't wait to be back with you guys next week. So. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back here same time, same place, same station, right here on The Ride.